It always is exciting to get going, and this fall camp is the last phase of preparation for the season, and I've really liked how this group has handled everything up to this point. I thought we had a good winter, it was a productive spring, and I thought this summer was a really good summer, and so we got 24 days here to lay the foundation for what this team will be, and certainly we've got a lot of work to do, but excited to get going on that tomorrow, and then I think the group is too.
We've got microphones on each side of the room. If you can flag one down for that question.
Paul, you guys brought in a grad transfer with Travis Wilcher. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not, but how did that transfer come about, and do you see him being able to make a big impact for you guys this season?
Well, we're excited to have Travis here, and got wind of that he was interested, and came and first met him in spring ball. Obviously watched him on film, and he was able to get into school, so we're excited he's here. He's was here in the summer, and that was nice for him to get a chance to be around the guys, and we'll see. He's a good football player, and we'll see how he adjusts and what he does here.
At the end of spring, when we saw Bradrick Shaw, he was not involved in full contact work. Do you know how much progress he's made, where he will be able to start a camp?
Yeah, kind of the goal. I remember talking with Brad, and it was right before kind of the first couple days of spring, and he was frustrated, and the goal was really to kind of could he get to day one of summer and have the whole summer, and did that, and so I think that certainly there's another element when you add the practicing in the pads, but he's in a good spot right now, and those who've been around, Brad, that's been one thing in this summer that's been pretty energizing, just because you care about who he is, and we all know what he's gone through, and so to see him running and see him getting confidence, there's some steps to be taken, but it's I think he feels good right now, in a good spot, and really ready to go. And I think we got to make sure that we're smart on it, and I think it'll probably bother him at times, but we're going to tell him I'd rather go a little bit slower than fast. But he had a really good summer.
Coach, I think Rafael Gagliardoni has used up all 10 years of his eligibility. And it's gone. Is the kicking race wide open?
Yeah.
Do you have a front runner so far?
No, wide open.
Wide open.
I wonder how he's doing right now. He's probably surfing or.
Coach, obviously you got a lot of linebackers in the NFL right now. How do you feel about the outside linebacker spot? Obviously Zach, pretty experienced, but what else is around him?
Yeah, really, I thought Zach had a great summer, and a really good spring, and so, we know him, but we need him he's got to elevate his game, right? And then, as you know, we got guys that we're excited about, we're anxious to see, but they've got to be able to do it and then do it consistently. And so it's a lot of guys that have flashed and done had good moments, but that'll be one of those positions in camp needs to play itself out.
Paul, is the place kicking competition purely who makes the most? Do you look at anything else beyond when you get him out there, who puts more through the efforts?
I mean, that's a pretty good start for it, right? I mean, it's they're all. I like the group, and they work at it. If you were off on time, and all that, but I think consistency is a big part of it.
Coach Keith Jenkins from the Associated Press. Nice to meet you. What are your impressions of your quarterback play at this point heading into fall camp, and what do you hope to see from those guys in the next 24 days?
Yeah, I like the group. It's a group that works at it and cares. Obviously, the only guy that's had any experience at all, I shouldn't say it, Danny had a couple of snaps, but Jack Cohn, right? And they had 5 starts last year, and thought certainly his last 2 were his best games. I've appreciated how he's gone about it, and there's experience is great to learn from. And I think he's done all the things he can and taken the steps to kind of try to maximize the opportunity to learn on it. But Jack's not a veteran quarterback right now, and then Danny Vandermoon took a couple snaps. I thought Chase Wolf had a good spring, and obviously Graham was in for this past semester and 15 practices, and even just the way camp is, the first 5 practices we're going to install almost everything. So there's going to be a lot of learning going on there, and then you've got a couple weeks where, all right, let's let them play, and that's then where I think in all the positions you start to see kind of guys start defining who they are as players. So I like the group, excited, but it's a group that they got to work at it, and I think for us to be the best team we can be, we need to obviously have more improved and consistent play at the quarterback spot.
Coach, with that secondary now more experienced, a year older now, how big of a step do you expect them to take?
Well, it's a group that should take steps forward, and but now we got to go do it. And there's a lot of guys that have played. I've loved kind of how Fayon Hicks is kind of how he's been and throughout the all the off season and spring. And then we got a lot of guys that have taken snaps and have played, but I think we need, again, you're looking for consistency. And I think in all this, the first thing you want to see is a player do something. He shows that he can do it, and then it's can they do it consistently. And if they can, then I think they're ready to contribute. And so a lot of guys have played. They've got some experience. They hopefully they're a little bit wiser from that. But we've got the fall camp's big. It's big for everyone. You can take whatever, fall camp I think is going to be big for Jonathan, and it's our best player. So big for everyone. That's why it's a fun time.
Tom Paul, your track record of picking quarterbacks indicates you value experience. How important is that at that position for you and your offense?
I think where the experience comes in is all the game situations, the playing the game and quarterbacking the team in that. It doesn't mean that you can't learn from it, but they've got to be able to handle those situations. And even our most experienced guy right now doesn't have a ton of experience, and that's okay. And that's why I think that's why when you hear me talk about them, I appreciate the way they spend the time, they work at it. So it's meetings and whatnot, but they're into it and they think about it when they're not here, and so I think they got a chance to go. But we've got to, I think experience is huge it's really valuable, and it's, and yet, we're not going to have a ton of experience in that position. I think we can coach to that though, and help them through that, and they'll gain it. And that's why I am pumped with, like Jack did have some genuine experience where he's been in a lot of different situations, and the other quarterback's got to be smart enough to see that other quarterbacks on tape, they're in these situations. You can't be the one that has to make the mistake. You got to learn from others' mistakes, and then you get a chance to kind of circumvent the experience a little bit.
John, you mentioned Fayon Hicks. I believe he's your most experienced corner now. he appeared to be an aggressive kid last year, but he also had some issues with penalties and getting beat on some plays. How did he handle that mentally as you evaluated what he did well and the struggles he had at times last year?
Yeah, I think, that's why myself, certainly Jimmy, is excited about him, because he reminds me a little bit of kind of Sojourn's growth, and that's part of the life, right, that they live, and I think that it seems to me like there's fewer highs and lows, and he's trusting himself, he's trusting the technique, and I think when you do that, you start to play, and I think he's playing, and what else is he puts the work in, so I think he can trust the work and the preparation, but I like where he's at, and you appreciate all that he's done to get to that point, but there's still, every guy in this team, there's still great room for growth, and I think that's what's always fun when you start camp.
Coach, you mentioned Jonathan earlier as being your best player. What do you hope he gets better at this fall camp?
Well, there's a ton of things that he can grow from. I think that so often the more you know, the more you realize there's still more to learn, and like in the run game, that I think he's got that much better understanding of not only what we're doing schematically, but what defenses are doing, and kind of how he can help others around him and set it up in the passing game. There's not a back that plays this game that isn't always still working on the craft of pass protection and identifying pressures and be able to do that, and certainly in the route running part of it. There's a ton, and that's what I appreciate from him, is he's a guy that he's obviously confident in what he's doing, but he does not come across and feel like he's arrived. That he will work, and one of the best workers on this team, and so you're always, you'd hate to think, any coach or player, that you've arrived and that you're there, and he certainly doesn't think that, and there's better become. Now, I don't know that the numbers will be, they were saying that last year. Jonathan can have a better year and may not have the number, I don't know, but he has worked. I love the summer and kind of what he's done really this whole off season, and he's competitive, and he's got an edge, and he will get better.
Coach, a lot of turnover on the offensive line this year. What are you looking for from players like Biotish to help lead that group this year?
Yeah, certainly we do. We got four guys that that aren't starters that are with us. We lose, Mike. Those are good players. Bo and Michael started a lot of games, and John Dietzen gave us, was big, and David Edwards and Mike, all that, right? But I like the group we have. Now we're going to need all camp, and we've got to come together. And Tyler's it's a great starting point, and he's a heck of a football player, and cares a ton about his teammates, and he'll do all he can. Cole, I don't think Cole has. We were talking about the other day if he has one start, but he's played a lot of football, and so he's got to come in and be ready to go. And we've got guys that have played. Hurds has played, and Brusser's played, Beecher's played, Caden Lyles has played. We've got guys that we got to come together, and we got to, that's what's fun about O-line, is they got to work together, they got to play together, they got to play off each other, and I know they'll be coached, and they'll be coached well, and the group is a good group, and we're gonna have to grow through camp, and we're gonna have to continue to grow as the season progresses. But I like that. I like who's in that room, and I like who's running that room.
Paul, how high is your confidence level with the defensive line and your inside backers as well?
Yeah, it's D-line. It's I was just walking behind Garrett Rand. It was we had a little lunch break, and it was, I think, back to a year ago. It was good to see him walking in, and you know, it's a group that if they can, let's face it, they gotta stay healthy. You know, that's Isaiah, that's Garrett. You know, I thought Bryson Williams had a heck of a first season. You know, played more than we thought, you know, with the injuries to Leve, but I like that group. I think there's some good young players, but they're young, and they've got to make progress throughout camp, and we'll kind of see where they're at, you know, then depth-wise. But you know, Matt Henningsen had an unbelievable summer, and there's a guy that played a lot last year. I think, you know, if last summer you probably, you know, he wasn't the first one we were talking about, but played a ton and learned a lot. And so I like that group. Like anything though, you know, probably every coach at this time is saying, but you got to stay healthy, right? And then, you know, Chryst is a great starting point for our inside backer spot. And you know, I thought Jack Sanborn had a good spring. It was good to get Leo Chanel in early, and you know, we got some players we like. They're young, you know, and aside from Chris, and yeah, I think Chris has had I've loved what he's done kind of with this team, and you know, he's changed his body and you know, dropped weight and playing faster, but has gotten stronger. So that's pretty neat to see, and we're going to need him to, especially early on, he can lead that group.
Paul, Alec Ingold was a guy you counted on a lot, and that's pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I think you said down in Chicago that Mason and John are different. Can you elaborate on that, what the differences are, and just what you expect from that position this fall?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You know, Mason's a guy that's, you know, we always were excited about, but you know, had some unfortunate injuries. You know, so it's been good to, you know, he's been healthy and good to get him going. You know, he came over, really, we switched him, you know, in season last year, so he's still kind of learning the position, and yet there's no question about his toughness and his ability, but I think that helps him now. He's got a better understanding, you know, having spring ball, and fall camp will be big for him. And same thing with John Chanel. John's a little bit, I think they're different types of guys. You know, I thought, like when we had really like Derek and Alec and Ram, we'll call kind of similar type guys. We could do, I don't know that these two fit into that yet. And so, you know, John's got good strength and certainly tough, and, you know, played as a true freshman last year. So there's a lot for those two to learn. But I do think he got some in it, and you know, Quan Easterling, we were excited about him. He got hurt in the summer, so he'll miss really a lot of camp. But it'll be interesting what we can. I think that's what camp is for a little bit, is what do they do, and what can we, how can we use them, and what can they bring to the offense.
Well, you took a little step back last year, wins and losses.
Right.
I think that was just a blip on the radar screen, and are you doing anything to ensure that it remains a blip on the radar screen? Doing anything different, changing anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, when you, like, if you're just, when you ask the question, you think, well, yeah, you know, you hope it's a blip, right? And yet that's the beauty of the season. You got to go out and play it, and you got to earn it. I think every year, there's lessons to be learned, and there certainly were lessons from last year to be learned, and I think things that we can apply, you know, and one of them is kind of, I don't think it'll be noticed a lot, but, you know, kind of how we're practicing and what we're doing. You know, we're trying to be a little bit more, in a number of ways, you know. Thought there's times when I didn't know if we were always, I think we could be a smarter team, you know, so we got to do a better job of putting them into situations, and so they can learn situational football and kind of complementary football, so kind of stacking some things up, so this is how one group plays off the other. You know, kind of the valuing of reps, and then it happens, and some of it's natural, like we're talking about the young DBs. Let's face it, for a player, the first thing you want to do is you want to play, and then once you play, you want to play well, and then pretty soon you play a lot, and it's, okay, I'm not worried about myself anymore, it's what can I do for the team. And so I think, you know, we got to do a better job. We're going to be still asking some guys that may be their first snaps. We got to try to fast forward that progression on it a little bit. And, you know, I think that, boy, there's a ton of things that we could, that you know, you go through and you try to make sure that you're doing what you could. You know, we've changed up some things in the off-season that, you know, thought we had to be a little bit, you know, every coach will say this, but we thought we have to be stronger, you know, and I think we got stronger but yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be learned from every year, and last year certainly was one of them, and you know, it's up for us to answer with our actions, not with words. You know, was it a blip, wasn't it? Right, we gotta go play the games.
All your assistant coaches are all back from last season, which I think is the first time in your time here you haven't had any turnover. Anything more than coincidence in that, or I guess that's one, and two, what's the value of having some continuity in the staff, the entirety of the staff, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the guys that have all left for really good jobs and, you know, promotions. I think it can be really good, and that's up to us now. We got to take advantage of it, right? That our players know and understand, you know, from their position coach, and we've all worked together. But we gotta apply that, and I think it can be really good. I like the group. I appreciate who they are as people, and I think that they're really good coaches. But you know, we all, you know, going back to what Ochi was talking about, I mean, we got to find a way to coach better, and that's every one of us does. You know, and so I like the group, and I think we understand each other. That part helps, and our players understand. I think our players like who they're being coached by, and so you know, I feel fortunate that they're all back.
Well, you mentioned that you thought after last season the guys needed to get physically stronger. Is that a result of having young guys, or where did that manifest itself on the field last year?
I think it's probably a combination of a lot. Certainly, you know, youth. You hope guys get stronger as they progress in the program. I think it's learning how to play physical, right? And a lot of it is knowing what you're doing. You know, were we doing too much? Were we not doing enough? You know, you got to look at all those things, right? Because if a guy knows what he's doing, trusts what he's doing, and trusts himself in doing it, then I think you have a chance to play physical. You know, and strength is part of it. Technique is part of it. You can be really strong, but if you're not playing with technique, then you lose a lot of that strength. And if you're playing with some uncertainty or don't trust it quite enough, you could have great strength and speed, but you're not playing as physical. And so I think it's how do you take it all together, right? It's not just one thing. And you know, the other part of it is I think strength can be measured, you know, so one to challenge the guys, you know, can you get to your best, you know, and I thought guys answered to that.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.
All right.